Hi. I use she, her pronouns. I'm not sir.
Oh, so sorry.
Yeah, like it's like a knife in the heart.
Sorry.
I did specifically ask ahead of time not to be called sir. Yeah, I'm just gonna go.
Okay.
Okay. The
So
Sweetwater starts at
yes,
okay.
sir.
Not not.
I'm so sorry. I apologize.
It's just always like a knife. It always hurts every single time. I was wondering if there's a manager I could talk to about something that happened. Yeah, I was called sir.
Oh, okay.
It just really sucks every time it happens.
I'm sorry about that.
I don't need to be called ma'am. I just need to not be called sir, you know?
Warning: Dave's content is not for the weak. Viewer discretion is advised.
So about a week ago, I was getting off work around 9 a.m. because I worked the overnight shift the night before. I am dead tired. I'm exhausted. I just want to go home and sleep. But before I went home to sleep, I had to stop by UPS to return a package. So straight out of work, I drove straight to UPS and entered the building. Once I entered the building, I saw this guy. He had like these happy earrings. I don't know how to describe them. So I just assumed the guy was gay, right? I walked in. I gave him my package. I said, here you go. He asked me for my QR code. I pull up my Amazon account and I gave him my QR code. He said, thank you, have a good day. And I said, you too, sir, have a great day. As I'm about to walk out, this motherfucker said, hey, come here. In my head, I'm like, oh, maybe the scanner didn't work, something went wrong, maybe I gotta scan again. So I walked towards him and confused. He was like, listen, do not call me man or sir. I identify as a woman. And I would appreciate it if you address me as that. I was taken back. So I looked at him and said, bro, you have a full beard. What are you talking about right now? And he responded and said, yo, I just want to be respected and I'll appreciate it if you address me as such with my proper pronouns. I'm like, bro, it's 9 a.m. I just work an overnight shift. I'm not playing this game. Like, I understand a lot of people cater to you guys in a way where they don't want to hurt your feelings, but this is not the internet. And I don't have to abide by your pronouns. Now, you can keep playing these make-believe games if you want to. I just don't want to be a part of it. I told him that, and I walked off. Whenever I see like a deep conversation about gender and transgender and why people hate it or why people agree with it, whenever I see these conversations tied around that subject, it often never goes anywhere. One side is gonna say gender is a social construct, we made it up, so I'm able to change it as much as I want to. And the other side will be like, well, you can't change biology or your DNA. That's just how God created it. I realize a lot of these conversations don't go anywhere. So whenever I'm having like a transgender conversation and they ask me why I don't believe or why I don't just call them by their pronouns, I just tell them I don't want to. Because as soon as you try to have this gender conversation, I realize you're gonna be arguing semantics for 3 hours and eventually you're gonna be stuck in a maze and stress yourself out. But one thing I can never figure out is the fact that transgender men and transgender women actually believe they're that certain gender. They believe it. I can never understand how someone feel like they're in a wrong body. I just can't comprehend that, which is why I'm always respectful to them. I never curse them out. I never try to fight them. I'm always respectful because I don't know what they're dealing with internally. But the fact that these people actually believe that they're in a different body or they're in the wrong body is fascinating. And I don't think I'll ever get an answer to that for as long as I live. But regardless of this long intro, I found this video of a guy who constantly get misgendered when he's out in restaurants, and he recorded it. And as we watch this video, I'm just gonna try to break down the psychology behind this guy thinking he's a woman. Now, I'm not a doctor in the medical field, but I used to be a street pharmacist. So without further ado, let's get straight to it.
It looks like he's having a nice feast.
She, her.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's okay. It's all good.
But it was not all good.
Hi. I use she, her pronouns. I'm not sir.
Oh, so sorry.
Yeah, like it's like a knife in the heart.
Sorry.
I did specifically ask ahead of time not to be called sir. Yeah, I'm just gonna go. Okay. The Sweetwater starts at
yes,
okay.
Sir.
Not.
I'm so sorry. I apologize.
It's just always like a knife. It always hurts every single time. I was wondering if there's a manager I could talk to about something that happened. Yeah, I was called sir.
Oh, okay.
It just really sucks every time it happens.
I'm sorry about that.
I don't need to be called ma'am. I just need to not be called sir, you know? Thank you. Did you call me sir? I just want to tell you that the person who gave me this called me sir.
What?
Called me sir.
Oh.
It's just like, it kind of just hurts a lot to get called sir.
Oh, sorry about that. Okay.
Very good. Thank you so much. No, yeah. Thank you. I'm not a sir. Nothing like a good misgendering. It is a knife in the gut when I get called sir. I feel like I need to tell him. I need to tell him that hurt. It hurts more, though, and it's not intentional, because it means like this is sir to him. I know you didn't mean it, but I'm not a sir.
I'm so sorry.
It's okay. I know you didn't mean it. It's just, it hurts. I know when people clock me, it's fine, but like it does kind of hurt. Thank you. I'm not sir.
Oh, sorry.
Not sir. Not sir. The guy who dropped the food off, he called me sir twice in a row.
Okay. I'll kind of let him know that and GM as well.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Here's the thing I don't understand. I don't understand the entitlement. Are you seriously getting mad at a waiter or a waitress that's identifying you as a man because you are? Are you getting mad at them because they don't subscribe to your bubble? I understand that you really, really believe that you're a man or a woman and you want the world to abide by that. But the reality is they don't have to. And like it or not, that is some people's choice. And you have to respect that at some point. Because if the Bible tells me not to lie, and I see a man telling me to call him a woman, now we have conflict. So if you just want to be called by your name, I'm with that. I'll call you by your name. But as far as me calling you he or she, when I could clearly see you got a mustache or a beard, we're not playing that game. I'm not doing that. Call me a bigot if you want to. I'll be the bigot. I'll be the misogynist. I'll be whatever industry name you decide to call me, because the truth mattered to me. Now, little known fact, when I was 21, I had a podcast called the Sliced Bread Podcast. Shout out to my nigga Mario. But when I had a podcast, I had the opportunity to invite a trans woman on. I was able to ask him questions and pick his brain on what he thought on transgender kids and trans women joining women's sports. So I had the opportunity to ask him a lot of those questions. And that whole conversation was just weird. Now, the fact that I was 20 or 21 at that time, I didn't have the knowledge I have now. I felt like I didn't ask or press on the questions that I really wanted to ask because I didn't want to upset him or make him feel some type of way because he traveled on his bike to get to my podcast. So a lot of that held me back. But without further ado, let me show you guys this video and how a lot of these people have a crazy thought process. So another question, when it comes to like sports and trans women going on women's sports, a lot of people really hate that. That's like one of the
conservatives
main...
really hate that.
Yeah.
And I've studied it. I've done some research on this.
Oh, great.
So the thing about that is, first of all, when has a trans woman ever taken first place in any Olympic sport?
There was the Olympic swimming. I think it came out recently.
I don't think she won. Did she?
No. The story goes she was in the men division and she was like 444. And then she went to the women division and she became number 1.
I don't think that actually happened. I think that was a fear-mongering thing. We can look it up if we want.
No, it happened.
Okay, it actually happened?
Yeah, it happened.
Okay. I don't know about that. What I do know is I think I'm a lot weaker since taking estrogen. It has fully changed my body. I don't have the strength I used to pre-estrogen. I was very buff pre-estrogen. And now I'm not. And it's been argued by a lot of people who are a lot smarter than me, that instead of specifically a gendered or sexed binary thing, because if you ask a trans man to compete in a man sport, the trans man is going to dominate because
testosterone.
Exactly.
That's not true. I don't know why I didn't catch that at that time, but if a trans man, in other words, if a woman transition to a man goes into a male sports, they're not gonna dominate. They're gonna be the last, because the thing is, no matter how many testosterone you take, you're still gonna be weaker than man. Your size doesn't change as far as height, or I was about to say muscle mass, but I guess you do gain a little muscle mass, but you will never outcompete a physical man in sports. This podcast was filmed in 2020. Until this day, I've never heard a trans man winning anything in male competition. It's always a trans woman. In other words, a man transitioning to a woman, destroying and annihilating women competitions. Facts.
Right.
So it should be a blood test to tell how much testosterone versus estrogen a person has that determines what league they go in.
Right, but I feel like referencing back to Olympic swimmer, she still had like the size, right?
Okay.
She still had the size compared to the women. So some would argue that gave her the advantage to be able to win.
Maybe, but like only usually that size is celebrated, but only when it's a trans person. Is it not? Is it a problem? Because if, like, in, let's just say, any men's division, if a swimmer had a very specific physique that gave him an advantage, that physique would be celebrated, but because it's a trans person, then it's a problem.
Because of the biological differences. It's not fair. Yes, you can take estrogens and lower your testosterone, but you're still a man with size competing with 5'4" women and you're like 6'2". It will never be fair. I hate how when it comes to that point of fairness, people don't want to admit the biological differences between a man and a woman. You're not equal to me. Yes, some women could run faster than me. Some women could probably be better than me at swimming. But they will never be faster than Usain Bolt or Michael Phelps. It will never happen because of the biological differences. I know a lot of feminists want to think men and women are equal, but we're not. And the world will never be at peace if you guys keep thinking you're equal to us. Facts. Now, I want to transition to like kids. Do you feel like should be an age where kids could transition, or what's your opinion on that?
So, first of all, literally no child is ever going to get like a gendered surgery. That'd never happen. Never has happened, never will. And that's good. Surgeries should be 18 plus, adults. However, I'm of the opinion that I wish I started estrogen sooner. I wish I knew before I had a first puberty, because now I have to go through two. And second puberty's a lot better. But like, I wish I had known, and I wish I had gotten on estrogen when I was younger. At least I wish I had access to puberty blockers, because then I would have been like, okay, I can make this choice. I can decide, is this right for me? Because puberty blockers are entirely reversible. There's something people should have access to. There's something that non-trans people have access to easily. But as soon as the child is trans, they struggle to get them. And there's propaganda about it. There's a book that exists called Irreversible Harm that is just about trans men being on puberty blockers and the irreversible harm that causes, except there's no harm.
Y'all should buy that book. I'll probably put it in the link in the description below, because there's a lot of harm in a young person transitioning and then completely regretting it after. It happens more often than you know. Kids should not be making decisions about if they want to be a man or a woman at the age of 11 or 9 years old. What are we doing? I understand we live in a first world country and we have the privilege to experiment on certain things, but leave the kids out of this silly shit. Leave the kids out of it.
They're completely completely reversible. And yeah, no, children should be children who are just like going through puberty should have access to puberty blockers, so they can make their own decision on it.
What if you had to put an age on it? What age would you say?
Probably like 13.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't remember. Puberty. The age is puberty. So like
12, 13.
12, 13.
Insane. You're saying kids should be allowed to have puberty blockers at the age of 12 and 13. Do you know what that does to your body?
So the term puberty blocking or puberty blockers really shouldn't be used. It's not accurate. There's no way to block puberty with medications or with anything. We've been told by various organizations, including prominent medical groups, that you can pause puberty, giving the child time to think about what gender they want to be, that they're reversible and they're harmless. It's just not true. The brain does not grow as one unit. There are certain sections that do not complete maturation until even into young adulthood, mid-20s. We do know that some of the last areas to mature are the frontal cortex, involved in executive function, making decisions. There are things that need to happen in sequence, hormones that have to be introduced that help with brain development, bone development, muscle development, coordination. If we stop those, we don't know what that does.
Do you know how many transgender man or woman transition and they regret that they transition and they can't stand to look at themselves in the mirror because they don't recognize the person they are because of a mistake they made when they're young?
This is wrong. This is a black and white issue. There is no gray in this. We should not medically transition children. These children will be more suicidal after they medically transition. You guys are all messed up. We're butchering an entire generation of children. And the facts are is these kids are starting to kill themselves, but nobody will listen. I'm urinating in the middle of London because of a bottom surgery that's completely and totally experimental. I get, infections every 6 weeks. I probably won't live past 10 years. I won't see my grandkids. And you know what? We want to make sure that trans men, believe that they're women. And then we got righteous gay people like this finally starting to come up. Thank God. Find your voices for these children. These kids are getting early onset osteoporosis. They're getting, they can't have kids. I have a video on my phone right now. This kid started at 11 years old taking puberty blockers. He's 19, asking me if he's a mutant. He knows that he ruined his body. But who is he? He's a man, but I was a woman, but I destroyed my body. And then here, all we're doing is we want to make sure that women.
I was in a MTV documentary about trans youth back in 2016. The kid named Milo, that's me. That was me before any medical stuff happened to me.
First thing that I think I said was, so do you want a penis? And he was like, no. It has nothing to do with that. It's who you feel like you are inside, your gender.
I started testosterone injections when I was 14. I also got top surgery, which is double mastectomy with male appearance chest reconstruction when I was 16. I then got a hysterectomy last year. So now I am stuck looking like a man and sounding like a man. I regret medically transitioning to male. I feel almost like I'm in a costume.
I feel like whenever somebody have these type of conversations, it get blurred out. It's always the positive. It's always about the people that transition and feel happy about it. They don't want to talk about the negative, and it's disgusting. But I like to talk about these subjects. As annoying it is, I like to talk about these subjects and pick people's brain on it and see if they give a different perspective than the ones I already hear. So here's my offer to any trans women or transgenders that watches this video. If you want to go on live with me and have a respectful debate about trans men and trans women, and how the public feels about it, and where is the common ground where I don't have to call you he or she, and we both just find a gray area where people that don't believe in that stuff and transgender people can coexist. So if you want to go on live and have a respectful debate, I'm emphasizing respectful because I don't want it to be a screaming match, reach out to me on Instagram. The link will be in my YouTube description. Hit me up on Instagram. We'll go live on YouTube and we'll chop it up. Thanks for watching. I'm out. If you like that video, I'm trying to get to 10,000 subscribers. So like, share, and subscribe and get me there. Thank you.